Good morning, Hoosiers. Welcome to the Low Gap Trail. This is the Low Gap Trail in Indiana near Bloomington. This is a 10.5-mile hike. It's going to have about I'm going to call them steep inclines. 3 inclines I have to think about, but most of the rest of it is flat terrain. You may notice the hat is already on, even though I'm in a nice shaded parking lot. That is because cicadas or giant flies, horse flies, just immediately assaulted my car when I got here. So this is soaked in permethrin. I'm sprayed in DEET. Figured I'd, fend them off. So yeah, it is coming up on 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's labeled as a 10.2 mile trail. That seems about accurate. I don't have signal here, which makes sense. Or I should say I don't have internet signal, so I can't do all trails or anything, but I have the map on my phone of where the inclines will be, and I have my watch, so I'll know roughly where I am. But anyway, I've never been here before. I don't really know what I'm getting into. I did the Wabash Heritage Trail in 3 hours on the nose for 8.45 miles. That comes out to 2.85 miles an hour. I'm hoping to do this one at about 2 miles an hour, which means it'll take me 5. With filming, that might slow me down a bit, but we'll see. So additionally, because it's so early, I'm going to be clearing out all the cobwebs, which is always fun. I've already done a bunch, and I'm barely into the trail. This is, or at least 7 miles of this, is actually a chunk of the Tecumseh Trail, one of my hopeful planned through hikes later this year or possibly next year. So I think it's 7 miles out of this 10.2. Oh. And now I'm just kind of on some gravel road. I think I'm going the right way, but I'm just on road now. Anyway, here we go. Like I said, I'm on the Low Gap Trail, which is part of the Tecumseh Trail. So this is one of the gorges people must have mentioned. I checked it out on all trails, and look at that. That's kind of cool. But, as we all know, this downhill I am on means the other side is an uphill. I came from up there, heading down here, and I assume once I cross this dry creek bed, I'll be heading back up again. I'm sure during some parts of spring and winter, this holds a lot more water. But for now, it's a virtually dry creek bed. And once again, that's where I just came from. This is what's been marking my trail most of the way so far, these diamonds. And every now and then, you get the little Tecumseh T. Yar! I found her. 'Tis the uphill. Trekking poles extended. Not sure how ominous it is to just be walking along and just finding a full water bottle in the middle of the path. It's possible someone made a very interesting water drop, who knows? So I stumbled on this extremely round pond. Makes you wonder what it was before it was a pond. A small sinkhole or some kind of structure, who knows? But very unexpected. Very, very stagnant. Just to add to the weirdness of the water bottle, about a mile later and outside the ravine, women's hiking boots. They look brand new. Pond number 2. I'm only about 3.5 miles in, and I am exhausted. I don't know if I didn't pre-game enough water for the trail, like drink enough beforehand, or just didn't eat well beforehand, but I am super tired. About a mile until the creek, and I'm going to take a nice long break there. About 10 a.m., 4 miles in. I'm at the bottom of the next big uphill, but the creek is dry, and that's one of the 2 big creek crossings that I was counting on to fill my water bottle. I got really lucky because there's some guys who are overnight camping a bit in here, and one of the guys, shout out to Nick if you ever see this, had a bunch of extra water, and he topped me off. I shot some Mio into my water, electrolyte Mio. I'm going to eat one of my Quest bars and then carry on. So I'm at the Morgan-Monroe backcountry campsites. This is where I took a long break earlier. I ate a Quest bar. I drank a lot of Mio water. But I made it up that first, or I guess the second overall, steep incline. And I got to the false summit and I collapsed. Like my legs just wouldn't carry me. So I just thought, okay, well, you know, there's just the false summit, a little bit more climb, then down. And I took another 15 minutes, and I couldn't get up that last like 50 feet. I just turned around and hiked back down. Like I still hiked 5-6 miles, and now I'm just gonna try and hitch back to the trailhead because I can't walk back. I just don't have the energy. So hopefully I'll get picked up. Hello again. So my attempt last week on Low Gap Trail ended bizarrely. Just poor decision making on my part with my electrolytes and water. So I am on Low Gap Trail again. I've come back a few days later, or several days later. I've actually come back on a Sunday. I don't usually weekend hike because there's so many more people, and there are. I've passed several campers, several people hiking out. The parking lot was near full, but I parked where I ended last time at the backcountry camp spot. So I got 4.5 trail miles, but because I had to hike back out, technically 5 miles hiked last time. I'm still planning to do the whole loop this time as well. The only exception is I'm gonna cut out the little southwest section I already did. It's still gonna be about a 9-mile hike, so that's good, and it means I will have hiked all parts of it, including the cut through. I just finished the first hill, the one I collapsed on last week. But yeah, feeling good. I dropped off a full liter of water at the Low Gap trailhead where I started last time. So I've got a downhill into a gap, then an uphill on the other steep climb, and then it's just a normal trail, and that's what I wanted. Get the 2 steep climbs out of the way and just casual walk around. Not for nothing, but it is a gorgeous day out. Like I just put my camera away so I could get some good hiking in, but it is beautiful today. I just crossed the Low Gap Road, which is the road I'm actually parked on, just all the way down that way. Bit steep too. So the northern section of the service road is definitely active. There's private property and driveways, and a bit ago a truck drove past me. So this part is definitely used, which is probably why we have to use the service road to hike this part. I would just cross too much private property. It's not as bad this part, because like I said, it's trafficked, so I can walk in sort of the de-stoned ruts instead of the outside where all the rocks are. So not bad. The Low Gap trailhead is probably about 2, maybe 3 miles in front of me. And then I'm gonna take the rock shelter trail to cut back down. And like I said, I'm gonna avoid that one uphill that I did last week. But a lot of prepared firewood up here. I don't know how wintry it gets, but there's a huge stack of it right there. Maybe they sell it to campers. That's pretty nice. I'm closing in on 6 miles in, and I'm actually about to roll up on the Low Gap Trail trailhead. This is where I started last week. So I've officially hiked the entire trail. And now I'm just gonna take that cut through which will shave off one big climb and I think a mile of actual trail, which brings us from 10.2 to about 9.2. I'm actually really tired. I've hiked this whole thing with a headache. I was hoping it would go away as I got fluids and sodium into my body, but it's still there. But I'm feeling good enough to hike, so I'll just keep going. Yep. Yoink. Beauty. This is the section I have hiked before last week. I just finished the last little dip and climb, and it should, if I remember correctly, just be a mile and a half downhill to the parking lot, where I have some vitamin Propel, a whole lot of water waiting for me. I'm super excited. Even though it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's starting to get really overcast. My fiance texted me about an hour and a half ago saying it was storming where we live, and I was just like, well, it's fine here. So I might be in for some rain in a bit. And we made it. 8.11 miles according to my GPS watch, but I think it's actually 9 miles. I'm exhausted, but I'm so happy to be done. It was a good everything hike. There's the bridge where I ate my lunch the other day and figured out I was dead. I'll talk to you more in a bit. I'm exhausted. My feet hurt. It gave me credit for 8.13 miles. I'm pretty sure it was more than that, just based on all trails and GPS. Not a lot more. It's not like, it might have actually been less than 9, but all in all, it's not a bad trail. There's a lot of gravel road walking if you do the whole thing, but all in all, not a bad trail.